So let's make the chicken stock. And here you have everything you need to make a great chicken stock. Rather simple. You know, my grandmother would have something like this to make a good chicken stock. And mind you, not the good parts, not the legs and the thighs and the breast, but all the wings, the heads, the feet, everything would go in this pot for a great soup. But all of this is from the freezer, the giblets, and it'll make a good soup. But before we begin with all of these goodies, I want to roast some onions right on top of the stove. And that is because it gives a little bit more flavor. So just cut your onions with the peelings right on. Okay. And we'll let that kind of roast and get nice and toasty, and that will add extra flavor to the soup itself. Let's begin with the meat. I'll pull it all out. Let's check it out. The chicken wings, the chicken back. It has a little bit too much fat. If it does, just cut that off, put it right in. Okay. And again, this is all from the freezer. You collect it as you go along. All makes a great, great soup. Carrots, the greens, those are the basis of a soup. So carrots, just wash them well. Celery, cut them in small pieces just like that. Throw it right in. And the carrots, you know, at the end, you can salvage them and eat them. They're very good. You can shred them in your soup and so on. This is celery, parsley. Just cut it up so the flavors come out. Now, these are all the little pieces of sometimes carrots, sometimes parsley, sometimes leeks. I save them in the freezer, wash them, save them in this little plastic bag. And when I'm ready to make soup, so you can see that almost you can just pull out of your freezer your little plastic bags of treasures and make yourself a great soup. And now you put a little bit of garlic. Just crush it so it will release its flavor. Don't worry about the peels. Just put it all in. A few bay leaves for extra flavors. I like that. Peppercorns, whole peppercorns. And what adds complexity to my soup is the rinds of cheese. So when you grate that cheese, save those rinds again, put them in the freezer. To cook them, you wash them, and then you kind of, with a little paring knife, grate them clean like that, just like that, and throw it right in. You know, I get a lot of emails on my social media. Ask Lidia, that's where you should go. And I love hearing from you, and I love answering questions that you might have about cooking. So, Ruth Spiller from Minneapolis, Minnesota, asked, do you roast all the bones first before putting them in to cook for the stock? As you notice, I didn't. But in the restaurants, at Lidia and our other restaurants, we do. What roasting the bones gives that extra dimension of flavor, just like I'm roasting the onions here. And if you have that carcass of roasted chicken or roasted turkey, by all means, use it for a soup. But do you necessarily need to? No. A great soup will come out just like this. So let's put in the onions. You see, just a little bit, toasted. Let's put them right in. So we have just about everything we want for the flavors. We'll put enough water to cover it all, and then we'll cook it. So, you know, a lot of times I get the question, do you put hot water, do you put cold water? I like to begin with cold water, so slowly it begins to cook and the flavors really are extracted out of the bones, out of that. But if you're in a hurry, hot water might save you half an hour. Okay, so here we are. It's nice and full. You bring it to a vigorous boil, and then you lower it down to a simmer. Keep it covered. You save about 20 to 30% of the gas by covering whatever you're cooking. So keep that lid on, and the temperature, of course, gets higher faster. And this will perk away for about 2 hours. There's nothing better than a soup perking on the stove when you come home hungry. And as a child, I remember a lot of times my grandmother had just that. And the soup is convenient because you put it up, you put the ingredients that you want at the right time, and you let it perk away. And in an hour and a half, 2 hours, you have yourself a great meal. So a soup where everything else fails and you say, gee, I have nothing to do. Yes, you do. You have something to make a soup. Once the stock is cooked, you let it rest for about an hour so it kind of cools down so you can strain it. So I put back the lid and leave it just a little bit ajar. Hold it tight with a towel, and you just pour the soup right in like that. Okay. Take the cheesecloth and you kind of squeeze. You want to get everything to the last drop. Now the soup still has the fat. If you have the fat separator is fine, then you do it at this point. And if you don't, it's also fine. You put it right in the plastic 1 quart. And seal it. You put it in the refrigerator overnight and solidify. The fat will solidify on the top just like that. Just fish out all the fat off. And here we are. Let's get the stock to a boiling point. Put the cover on so it'll get there faster. In the meantime, stracciatella, straccia. Straccia means a rag in Italian. And stracciare means to rip. And actually, the looks of this soup, you will see, the eggs look like shreds. But we'll put some spinach in there and spinach leaves. Could you put something else? You could put parsley, you could put leeks. But the tradition is shredded spinach leaves, just like this. The spinach is in shreds. The stock is boiling. Let's put it right in. That's it. Okay, now let's whisk the eggs. Okay. A little bit of salt in the eggs. And let's whisk this. Give it a good whisking. Put a little bit of grated cheese right in there. Okay, let's whisk that. The spinach looks like it's just about done. And slowly, you just pour in the egg slowly, and you whisk it in so you can see the shreds of the eggs forming. And you go in and you mix, and you break the shreds down. Mix it up well, and it's cooked. You can shut it off, and the soup is ready. The stracciatella is done. We're ready to taste it. It's great. Make sure you get some spinach, some of the egg. Delicious, easy. This, it's almost a complete meal with just a little bit of cheese on top. That is delicious. It is boiling hot, so let me taste this. Delicious, delizioso. The flavor of spinach, the eggs, the stock is really rich, and then the cheese on top. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Reminds me of my childhood. Grandma used to make it for me all the time.